الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب زدني علما اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من وسوسة الشياطين اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا ورزقا واسعا وحلالا طيبا وعملا متقبلا وشفاء من كل داء بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم In the name of Allah, the all merciful, the very merciful. قل أعوذ برب الناس Say, I seek refuge with the Lord of mankind. ملك الناس The King of mankind. إله الناس The God of mankind. من شر الوسواس الخناس From the evil of the whisperer who withdraws. الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس The one who whispers in the chests and the hearts of people. من الجنة والناس Whether from among the jinn or mankind. This is the last and the final surah in the order of the Quran Sharif that we have in front of us. And also out of the 4 quls that we know, this is the 4th qul. Surah Al-Kafirun, Surah Al-Ikhlas, Surah Al-Falaq, and Surah Al-Nas. So all these 4 surahs are known as qul, the 4 quls, and this is the last surah. And this surah has 6 verses, 6 ayat, and it consists of 20 words and around 80 letters. And it is also a Makki surah. The background of this surah was discussed in the last sitting and last gathering. We remember about the incident of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he suffered through the magic that was done against him by Labid ibn Asam. For around 6 months, Prophet ﷺ went through hardship in the matters of the world, where he would think he has done something, he would think he has visited his wife, whereas he hasn't. Or he has and he think he hasn't, or he hasn't and he has. So in both ways. So near the end of these 6 months, Prophet ﷺ's pain and suffering was unbearable, and Prophet ﷺ increased in dua and making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then one night, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was shown the dream of the Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam and Mikael alayhi salatu wasalam, where they sat next to him and they discussed about the incident and the reality of what was happening to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So in that dream, he was told that Labid ibn Asam with his daughter have done a magic against on Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the comb and the hair that they used and the knots that they made, this has been buried in the well at the bottom under the rock. And Prophet ﷺ was shown where the location of this was. After, the next day he woke up, he discussed it with his wife, Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha. Then Prophet ﷺ himself or the Sahaba, few of the Sahabas radiallahu anhu majma'een, went for Nabi ﷺ, and the verses of Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas were recited. 11 knots were made by reciting each verse. They were opening the knots. So by the time they opened the 11 knots, 11 verses were recited. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that it's as though I have been relieved, I have become free. I was as though I was shackled and chained up in something. Now I feel free. So this is the background of Surah Naas and Surah Falaq. And as an introduction, we mentioned last week as well, that in this world we have khair, we have goodness, and we have shar, we have evil and calamity. And calamity and evil are the external calamity. The external calamity can come from the human beings, the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This can come to the person either through jealousy, through magic, and in other ways. So we have the means available to protect ourselves from this external calamity. We have the security cameras, we have passwords, we have the facial recognition technology and other means of way of protecting ourselves from the external calamity. And again, for the internal calamity, for the calamity from within ourselves, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also given us a method of protecting ourselves and curing ourselves and healing ourselves from that evil from which is internal. The external calamity will damage and will cause damage in this worldly aspects only. For example, a person has expensive watch and that is stolen. So that's a damage and cause for the worldly matters only. In Surah Al-Falaq, when we seek protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the protection that we are seeking is only related to the worldly aspects. It's only related to the worldly aspects. Somebody has jealousy. You've got a car, you've got some belonging, you've got some skill, and somebody is jealous of you. And through the jealousy, the nazar affects you, the evil eye affects your soul. That's only got to do with worldly matters. So Surah Al-Falaq, we are able to seek protection from the worldly matters and the damage that causes by this external evil and calamity. In Surah Naas, what we seek protection from is worldly matters, but more got to do with the hereafter. More got to do with the hereafter. In Surah Naas, we seek protection from the internal evil, internal calamity. And we will learn in the surah, and that is the main culprit, the shaitan. Surah Naas will help us to protect ourselves from the shaitan and from the evil of the shaitan. Now, if a person is attacked by the shayateen, is attacked by this evil, it will have an impact on his hereafter. So in Surah Naas, we are able to seek protection from the calamities, from the internal calamities which have and cause damage of the hereafter. So this is Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Naas. Both are important. Both are important. So the way they can protect us from our physical illnesses, from our physical external calamities, Mu'awwadatayn, which are these surah are known as, they will protect us from the internal calamity and especially the calamities of the hereafter. So it's very important for us to recite the Mu'awwadatayn and the 4 quls in order to gain protection. Yes, we use the means available, but we don't just rely on those. We should have yaqeen and faith and conviction in the surahs of the Quran, in the verses of the Quran, in the masnoon du'as, in order for us to be protected and be cured. So we will learn that the way we take medicines to cure ourselves, we should turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first. The first focus point should be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First focus point should be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then inshallah, when we have this yaqeen and conviction, we will see that these surahs are also protecting us and cure and healing us also. This was just the introduction of this Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Naas especially. We'll just go through the meaning of the ayat, the verses in a brief. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the all merciful, the very merciful. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas. We've mentioned about qul before, we've mentioned about a'udhu before as well, isti'adha, to seek protection. Bi rabbin nas. So we seek refuge, I seek refuge with the Lord of mankind. One point here is the word Rabbun Nas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, Rabbun Nas, the Lord of mankind. He could have said, the Lord of the earth, the Lord of the heavens. Could have used other words. Why particular in Rabbun Nas, the mankind? The answer to that is because the effect of the shaitan has only on the human being. Shaitan does not need to affect the earth, or it doesn't affect the earth. The whispers of the shaitan and the evil of the shaitan has an effect and Naas. And Naas generally is then tarjuma as mankind, but through the Quran and the Hadith we will learn that it also includes the jinns. So Naas also includes the jinn and the mankind, but generally towards the mankind. So this is one reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said bi Rabbin Nas, because generally the shayateen affect the Nas, affect the people. Now the word bi Rabb, the word Rabb itself is a very unique word and very amazing word. We say the word Lord, but it doesn't give justice to the meaning. Rabb includes several things. First of all, Rabb and the word Malik or Malik, they have a similar meaning. Rabbin Nas, Malikin Nas. So the Rabbun Nas and Malikin Nas, they have a similar meaning, which means owner. So in Arabic, we have the word Rabbul Bayt, the owner of the house, Rabbul Mal. We also have Malikul Bayt, etc. So they have a similar meaning, where the owner of the house, the owner of the wealth, etc. In also the word Rabb, we have another meaning, which is Sayyid. It also includes Murabbi. It also includes Murshid. It also includes Qayyim. And it also includes Mun'im. So the word Rabb has all of these meanings included in just the word Rabb. Malik, we also already mentioned the owner. Sayyid basically is referring to when you have ownership and you also have full authority on whatever you own. Sometimes we have something which is in our possession, but we don't have complete authority of it. For example, we have a car. We own, the car is ours, but we are restricted to what we do with the car. We can't modify it as we want. We can't drive it as we want. We can't speed with it as much as we want. No, we're restricted with it. So it is ours, but we have limited authority over the car. But the word Sayyid means that Rabb which has full authority. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has authority over us. He can do whatever with us, whatever He wishes, because He has a full authority over us and over the creation. So that's what Rabb includes. Number 3, the word Murabbi. Murabbi, we hear in the 15th juz, Kama Rabbayani Saghira, Rabbi Rahamuma Kama Rabbayani Saghira. In there, we make dua for our parents that Rabbayani Saghira, the way they nourished us, Allah take care of them as well. And the word Rabbayani and the word Rabb has, in one explanation, roots to the same meaning. Now, one difference is that the word Rabbayani means that when you have something at a small, and you nourish it and you look after it until it grows big. Generally, the parent, when the child is born from day one, the parent take care of the child until the child reaches a certain age where he is able to take care of himself. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, that when the child is born, when something is born, when an animal is born, from young age, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also takes care of, before birth also, in the 9 months when the child before is born, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking care of that child until he grows, and also after that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to take care of that being and take care of that creation. So the word Rabb also includes the word Murabbi. The next meaning is the word Murshid. Murshid, it means something that you take care of something, they let it grow, and then you also show directions to that being. So this is what Rabb also includes, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala nourishes the being, and He also gives direction, and He also gives guidance to it. He also gives guidance to the being towards the correct and the right path. So this is what Al-Murshid also includes. The word Al-Qayyim, it means that because of the being, that thing exists. If the Rabb doesn't want existence, then the subject and the thing won't exist. So we are existing because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to exist. So this is what Al-Qayyim is referring to. And the last one is Al-Mun'im. Al-Mun'im means the one who gives gifts. The one who gives gifts. Whatever we have is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not obliged to give it to us. But whatever we have is an amana, is a gift for us. That's why there are restrictions of what we do to ourselves, and you can include in there that, harming ourselves is prohibited, causing death to ourselves is prohibited. So because what we have is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is not what we owe. So the conclusion of Rabb is that Rabb includes all of these meanings. It's a very comprehensive word. Now the word Rabb, the other beautiful point about Rabb is, when we look at the story of Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, when he was told to come to the Mount Tuwa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced Himself. And the first verse, the first word, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that وَأَنَا اخْتَرْتُكَ فَاسْتَمِعْ لِمَا يُوحَى. Inni ana rabbuka. Inni ana rabbuka fakhla'na alayk. So the word Rabb was used when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced himself to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. Like this, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduced himself to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the first word that was used was Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used the word Rabb also to introduce himself to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Another point of Rabb here is, if you look at Surah Al-Fatiha, Alhamdulillah. So the first word is the word Allah. His Zati Naam and his personal name is Allah. From his attributes, the first attribute he has brought, or the first quality he has brought, is the word Rabb. So Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. If you look at in the last three surahs of the Quran, you have Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Now the word Allah used here is the last word that's been used, that's the last place where the word Allah is used in the Quran. After that, the word Allah is not used. However, the first attribute that's used after that is again Rabb. So the Rabb Allah has been used in Surah Alhamdulillah, Qul Huwallahu Rabbil Alameen, then you've got Rabbil Falaq and Rabbil Naas. So again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used the word Allah and Rabb in the beginning of the Quran, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used the word Rabb and Allah and Rabb in the end of the Quran also. Another point we need to understand in the Rabbin Nas. Rabbin Nas, Malikin Nas, Ilahin Nas. Generally, when we have something in Arabic also, when you've mentioned a noun, you use a pronoun after that. For example, you've mentioned the person's name, Zayd, and you mentioned the word he after that. You don't say Zayd, Zayd, Zayd. So when you've mentioned the word An-Nas, should have been, or it could have been, Malikihim, the Malik and the God of them. The word them should have been used. The pronoun whom should have been used. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeated the word An-Nas, An-Nas, An-Nas. One reason for this, Allama Zamakhshari rahmatullahi alayhi says, is to show how much he honors the An-Nas, how much honor he has given to the people. Malikin Nas, Ilahin Nas, the second and the third verse, the king of mankind, the God of mankind. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the king of kings. Malik and Malik have a similar meaning. They have same meaning, just a different recitation also. So this means that he has the authority, the one who is the creator, the one who is the fashioner. The word Ilah, Ilahin Nas. The word Ilahin Nas includes Malik and he also includes Rabb. The word Ilah includes Malik and he also includes Rabb as well, includes everything. So Ilah includes everything, because Ilah means the one that we are worshipping. So the one we are worshipping is our Rabb, he's our Malik, he's our Malik, and he is our everything. So Ilah includes everything. Min sharril waswasil khannas. Now we are taking protection. Now one more point before we mention this ayat number 4 is, when we look at in Surah Al-Falaq, we had Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. The word Rabbil Falaq was mentioned once. Then we had 4 things that we take in protection of. So one attribute of Allah that we're using to take protection, and 4 things that we're taking protection from. Min sharri ma khalaq, wa min sharri ghasiqin idha waqab, wa min sharri nafathati fil uqad, wa min sharri hasidin idha hasad. So you can say in our understanding is a level 1 security. But when you come to Surah An-Nas, we had the top level security first. We had Rabbin Nas, Malikin Nas, Ilahin Nas. So we have 3. We have the top level security, and we only have Min Shar, only 1 point. 1 shar that we take in protection from. So that also shows that the evil and the calamity of this shar is more severe and more damaging than compared to in Surah Al-Falaq. So the damage that can cause from the Surah Al-Falaq is limited and restricted to this world only, but the damage that's caused in this one is more severe, is more important that we take protection from. That's why we've got the high level of security we have sought in this Surah An-Nas. So min sharril waswasil khannas, we take protection from, and we seek protection from the evil of the whisperer who withdraws. Now the word al-waswas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have said waswasa, from the whispering. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say the word whispering. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used a noun. He said from the whisperer. Now why is it this that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said whisperer? One reason for this is because when you seek from whispering only, you're only taking protection from one aspect of that being. But when you say we seek protection from the whisperer, we're taking protection from all types of evil from that being. So that al-waswas includes all types of evil, not only one evil of this shaitan. Now al-waswas, it refers to shayateen, it refers to shaitan. Now in the word itself, the word itself, waswasa, that's where it comes from. Waswasa means something that comes to you very discreetly, very secretly, very quietly. You don't even realize that it's come to you. So that's what the waswasa is. that a thought comes to your mind very quietly, very secretly, without you realizing. But then that whisper could lead to a thought. Now that thought could lead to some intention. Then that intention could lead to a resolution. Then the resolution will lead to an action. So if the whisper at the beginning was an evil, then what will happen is it will lead to an evil thought. Then that will lead to evil intention. And that will lead to evil resolution. And that will lead to evil action. But if the whisper that came to our mind was a good one, then it leads to a good thought. That will lead to a good intention. It will lead to a good resolution. And it will lead to a good action. So we need to understand that when an evil whisper comes to our mind, then immediately put a break. Otherwise, it will lead to the last and the final stage, which is the evil action itself. So it's important that we, as soon as the whisper comes to our mind, if it's an evil one, we take protection from that. And the word al-khannas, again, the one who retreats and withdraws. The one who retreats and withdraws. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used the word khannas in Arabic grammar. It is used for emphasizing, for exaggerating. Khanis and khannas. Khannas, for example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says al-ghaffar. Al-ghaffar means the one who forgives a lot. So al-khannas means the one who withdraws and retreats. Now, the waswasa of the shaitan and the trick of shaitan is that he comes, puts a whisper, and he withdraws. He puts a whisper and withdraws. So word al-waswas and al-khannas is telling us that the whisper of the shaitan is not that he comes only once or twice and it disappears and he just gets tired and he sits down. No. The shaitan is said that he comes to you once, he withdraw. He comes to you second time, he withdraw. Third time, he withdraw. For thousands of years, the shaitan has been putting whispers in the human being and he's never ever got tired. So that's what al-waswas and the al-khannas means. That the shaitan is such that he doesn't withdraw, he doesn't stop. He continues. The human being will get tired. Human being will get tired and they may become the victim of his whisper. But the shaitan doesn't withdraw, doesn't stop. He goes, he puts a whisper, then he may withdraw for a reason. What is the reason we mentioned after each other, if you remember? But he withdraws and he goes back. But then he comes back again, he puts another whisper, then he comes back, he puts another whisper. So he continues doing this. He continues doing this. So this is what the shaitan trick is. Now again, in the hadith, we learn from the Prophet ﷺ that the shaitan, he sits on the hearts of the people. He sits on the hearts of the people. When the person is neglectful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he becomes neglectful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَإِذَا غَفَلَ وَسْوَسَ, immediately he puts a whisper. But then when a person ذَكَرَ اللَّهِ خَنَسَ, when a person remembers Allah, he withdraws. When a person takes the name of Allah, he moves away. Because he can't bear the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going into himself. So when a person takes the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he withdraws. But when a person is neglectful, he's not remembering Allah, the shaitan comes and he starts throwing his whispers into the person's mind. So this is the word al-waswas. Again, the word itself is telling us that he continues doing this. Was, waw sin, waw sin. In Arabic, you have the word zilzal, zalzala, zalzala. So za, lam. Earthquakes happen not only once, they happen many times. Silsila is another Urdu word. Silsila means the chain. The chain doesn't stop, it continues. So our chain to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, in our fiqh and in the tasawwuf, it goes all the way back to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So the silsila. So the word wasa. So then waw sin is telling us that the shaitan doesn't stop, it doesn't just sit back, but he continues to throw whispers at us. الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ. Again, Allah SWT has already told us al-waswas, that he is the one who continues throwing whispers. Then al-khannas, again, Allah SWT is telling us he continues to throw whispers. Then الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ, third time, yuwaswisu has come again in the mudari' form. Mudari' form means that something which is happening now and in the future. So the shaitan is said that he throws a whisper now and he will continue throwing whispers towards you. So the yuwaswisu is also emphasizing even more on al-waswas, which is already emphasizing, which is because it's a noun. A noun also yadullu ala dawam. And then al-khannas is already emphasizing, yuwaswisu is emphasizing even more. So this is telling us that this shaitan that you have, you need to get high level of security and protection from this shaitan, because he never stops. For thousands of years, he's been trying to lead people astray. So fi sudurin nas. Sudurin nas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the chests of people. Now, the chest is a place. Inside our chest we have the heart. This is the home. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say that the shaitan has an effect on your heart. He says he has an effect on your chest. That means that the shaitan only throws whispers. He doesn't lead a person to do the action. He only gives you that thought. He only, throws something towards you, but you are the one who is taking yourself towards that action, because you, in one way, are control of your heart. So it depends what you do. If you're going to open your heart and you let the shaitan come in, then he will lead you to that. He's sitting in front of the garden. He's waiting for you to open the door. If you're going to open the door of your heart, the shaitan will come in and he will lead you towards that action. But if you seek protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you've got high security at the door of your heart, you've got the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the shaitan will stay there, will stay there, will stay there. You won't be able to affect your heart. So that's why we need to seek protection from the shaitan. Again, he will only take you toward the action, he won't make you do the action. Shaitan himself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَلَا تَلُومُونِي وَلُومُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. On the day of judgment, shaitan will say, I didn't make you do anything. I only put the whisper. You took yourself to that action. You took yourself to that place. You did the button, you made the phone call, you went on this website, you did this, I didn't do it. I only put the whisper, I only put the thought, but you led yourself towards that action. الَّذِي يُوَسْوِسُ فِي صُدُورِ النَّاسِ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ. The last verse, مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ. Now here, we are seeking protection from the al-waswas al-khannas, the one who throws a whisper, from among the jinn or mankind. Now here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used the word al-jinn first, then the mankind. This is to show that generally the evil whispers and thoughts come from the jinn, from the shaitan. There are people also in the human being form who do the same thing. Sometimes it could be your own friend, sometimes it could be your own person. And he puts all these evil whispers in your mind and you end up breaking relationship with somebody else. You end up breaking friendship with somebody else. You end up leading yourself towards an evil action. So that being, that human being who put that evil whisper, he can also be from the one who throws evil whisper. And so we seek protection from al-jinn wan-nas, from those who throw whispers, evil whispers towards us. Now this is just a basic understanding of Surah An-Nas. Now there are many lessons that we learn from this. One of them is that we need to take protection from the external evil and calamity, and we also need to take protection from the internal calamity as well and evil. The Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas will help us to protect ourselves from the calamities of this world and also calamities of the hereafter. And we also need to make a habit of reading all the focals along with other masnoon du'as and verses of the Quran in order to protect ourselves. We're living in a time where evil is being spread. Now, if we don't seek protection, then the shaitan will whisper and whisper. And one of the attacks of the shaitan and the evil whisper is on our iman. He throws whisper about our aqidah, about the beliefs and our fundamental of our deen. For example, the one of the whisper of shaitan is that, who created Allah? So that's a whisper of shaitan. So if Allah created us, who created Allah? So then that sort of whisper could lead a person out of the folds of Islam. So we need to seek protection from the shaitan and from his evil whispers. Last few points we like to mention is that the connection between Surah An-Nas and Surah Al-Fatiha. Connection between Surah An-Nas and Surah Al-Fatiha. Because Surah An-Nas in our tartib of the Quran is the last surah, but there's a connection to the beginning of the Quran as well. One connection is that generally when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam would come to the end of the surah, khatam of the Quran, after reading Surah An-Nas, he would read Surah Al-Fatiha again. So Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would do this. Why? Is to show that we're not finished. We're going to make another start of the khatam. We're going to do another khatam. We're going to do another khatam. So this is the Quran that we're going to continue reciting. Another connection with Surah An-Nas and Surah Al-Fatiha is that in Surah Al-Fatiha, we had isti'anah. We sought help for something. And in Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas especially, we had isti'adah where we sought protection from something. So in the beginning, we are seeking we're seeking help to complete a task. That Allah guide me towards the right path so I am able to do this. And in Surah An-Nas and Surah Al-Falaq, we are seeking protection from those things which will prevent us from completing the task. So we want guidance, we want to be on the straight path. But the thing that will prevent us from going on the path, we are seeking protection from that in Surah Al-Falaq and Surah An-Nas. Another connection here is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Surah Al-Nas, he had Rabbin Nas. In Surah Al-Fatiha, we had Rabbil Alameen. In Surah Al-Nas, we had Malik Nas. In Surah Al-Fatiha, we have Maliki Yawmiddin. So Malik and Malik. And in Surah Naas, we had Ilahin Nas, Ma'bud. And in Surah Al-Fatiha, we have Iyyaka na'budu. So who is this Ma'bud? Is that Ma'bud and that God that we worship. So there's a connection in the words as well. The next thing is that in Surah Al-Nas, we are asking help for something. And in Surah Al-Nas, we also ask for help as well. In Surah Al-Fatiha, the theme in Surah Al-Fatiha is more got to do with is more plural. That we ask for guidance towards the right path. So it's like an ummah. So as an ummah, we are asking for the right path. We are asking to be guided towards the right path and protected from being among those who are cursed. And in Surah Al-Nas is a singular form. I seek protection. Why? Because the shaitan generally affects an individual. Shaitan protects an individual. As an ummah, we need guidance. We need guidance. So in Surah Al-Fatiha, we have a plural form. And in Surah Al-Nas, I need to protect protection from the shaitan. So there's a singular form in Surah Al-Nas. And the last point that we like to mention is that the Surah Al-Nas told us that we need to seek protection from the shaitan and the waswasa of shaitan. If you study the Quran, we will come to around 7 places where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has discussed the story of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. The incident is only once. The incident is only happened once. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has discussed it in several places, around 7-8 places in the Quran. And in Surah Al-A'raf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says that, this shaitan, he put the waswasa, he put the whisper in Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and in Hawa alayhi salatu wasalam, and this led them to do the action and led them onto this earth. So what we need to do is we need to seek protection from the waswasa of the shaitan, otherwise it will lead us to action as well. Now what is the waswasa that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned is that فَوَسْوَسَ لَهُمَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِيُبْدِيَ لَهُمَا مَا وُورِيَ عَنْهُمَا مِنْ سَوْآتِهِمَا. This waswasa led them to uncover their shame and uncover their sitr. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one lesson we can learn from this is that we also need to seek protection from the shaitan. Why? Because when we don't seek protection from shaitan, then we become shameless. We become involved in fahsha, nudity. Why? Because that's what shaitan's whisper leads us to. The shaitan will only say that it's only one message to the colleague. It's only one cup of tea. It's only one meal. But that one cup of tea, that one message, that one one meal or that one session outside will lead to many other evil afterwards. That's why we need to seek protection from the shaitan. So this was just a brief understanding of Surah Al-Nas. And actually the last point, which is a beautiful point, Surah Al-Fatiha, which is the beginning of the Quran, starts with a dua. And Surah Al-Nas, Surah Al-Falaq ends with a dua. So we understand the power of dua and the importance of dua, that dua should be part of our life, in able to seek protection and be able to keep ourselves on the right path. Because Ihdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, we're asking for right path. The entire Quran is a guidance towards the right path, but the shaitan is going to be there to prevent that. So we need to seek protection from the shaitan, so we'll be able to stay on the right path in our life. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the understanding of the Quran and give us attachment to the Quran. And this is what is inshallah going to help us to rectify the condition in the world, that if we connect ourselves again to the Quran, implement the Quran, understand the Quran. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our gathering. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ability to act upon what's been heard and what's been mentioned. Subhanallah bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin, bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahim. Jazakum.